When the bushman lies down, his mind is free from care. He knows his stock will furnish him with meat, wear and tear. Should all commerce be ended in the event of a war, then bread and beef won't fail us boys, who true bushmen are. That's a paragraph from Banjo Patterson's famous poem, The Bushman. The idea is that the Aussie bushman, or swagman, was free from care because of his ability to not be dependent on much and resourceful with little. The bushie, swagman, traveller, or bushman has a romantic notion in the Australian mindset. Our history is full of these men who roamed the bush back in the days when society seemed less tame. In Don Watson's book The Bush, he writes, "Swagman, or footmen, were also called travellers. Great numbers of this nomad tribe wandered in the bush, looking for work, and when there was no work, for at least a feed. Rather than feed them, the squatters gave them a pannikin of flour so they could feed themselves on damper. Later ones tended to be men who took to the wallaby when work ran out. Whatever the stripe of his character, the jolly swagman is no stirrer. He's an anti-hero, a rebel without a cause, an enchanter." And I too have always been captivated by our history with the bush, and some of the ways the early bushmen, squatters, or even settlers were able to get by in a harsh environment with the little they had. So I decided to set off with my boy for 2 nights to try and get a taste of the swagman life. Even if it is just a minuscule peek into the life of a bushie, I wanted to pass something down to my boy, and maybe help him be captivated by this unique part of our Australian history. G'day everyone, today we're in the Strathbogie Ranges, and for this little trip I wanted to show my boy some of the traditional ways that the old Australian bushie or the swagman used to camp out in the bush. And today we're on a beautiful location. It's a hip camp property, but we're going to stay the first night in this little hut, which is really cool, and we're going to spend the night in here. We can drive the car right up to here, but then there's a bit of bushland around here, so tomorrow night we might walk out with the swag and camp out somewhere out there. And yeah, so today's trip is just kind of experimenting and experiencing some of the old ways of camping and some of the old ways that the bushmen used to do things. And we've got some good cook-ups in store, and yeah, it's going to be a good one. Beautiful location. Up in the cold. It's going to get cold tonight, mate. -2 or so. But yeah, we're prepared. Everyone, so we're going to make a fire. I've got everything ready. Got firewood ready. Got the kindling, got our tinder ready, and today I'm going to be making fire by flint and steel, and this is how the old fellas used to do it. And I've got my new flint and steel here by Survival Supplies Australia, and Matsy from the Silly Swagman recommended me to get this one. There we go. Yep. Okay.
I thought you were going to need something else.
Bit of cotton here as well. Chuck this in here. A tinder bundle. Yep. Yeah, like that. Here we go. Way!
Yeah!
We have fire! Quick, back! What are you doing over here, mate?
Me?
Do you reckon you're going to chop that in half?
Yes!
I think you should choose a stick that's not as thick. It might take you some time. And as soon as that sun goes over the horizon, it gets cold. You can feel it straight away, but that's winter up in high country in Victoria. Often think how the old bushies used to do it and how they'd handle the weather. I just think they were harder than us. They, you know, were used to it, and even the indigenous folk as well, like they were out here in the middle of winter and they managed as well. And for a bit of light tonight, because we're going old school, not doing torches, we have this old lantern here. But this is a bit of an old one, a bit of an antique, and I looked into the history of this, and this company were making these lanterns in England from the 1940s. This one's probably dated to around after the war, maybe early 1950s. And it's just kind of a nice way to have light tonight. And then you push this down. Nice layer of frost over everything this morning. Chilly night last night, down in the minus degrees, frost everywhere across the landscape. Ethan's still asleep, but I'm just building that fire back up because I've got a plan to make a damper this morning for breakfast. Morning, Ethan. How did you sleep?
Good.
Were you cold?
No, not at all.
Not at all? 5, 6. Look at that.
Not me.
There we go. Chuck it in here. Right in the center of here. Damper was the quintessential bushman meal, made simply with flour, salt and water. Or in my case, a bit of warm homebrew to let that yeast kick in. This meal has a special place in the history of our country, and often baked simply over hot coals, it was a meal that filled the belly of many swagmen. Well and truly burnt the crap out of the bottom of it. But that's okay. We can avoid eating the bottom. Bit of jam. This is still pretty good, I'm happy with that. Get into it, Ethan.
What?
Mmm.
No, good.
Oh, that's good. How is it?
Good.
What's the verdict? So we're surrounded by a state forest here, bushland. So today we're just going to go for a walk, up a hill, see if we can see Mount Buller from the top, and yeah, just explore the day out in the bush. This, isn't it?
I can see one here.
Wow. You imitating the cockies?
Yes.
Go on, give me your best cocky imitation. Alright, well, we've just walked a little bit into the bush, just for a little walk into this open bushland spot. So we spent the night in the cabin last night, but we want to be here tonight in the swag, and we want to do the swagman thing. Alright, so it's getting to about that time where it's getting late, we're getting hungry, sun's going down, so we wanted to cook up something. So for tonight's cook up, I was inspired recently when I watched The Man from Snowy River again, and in that movie, famous Australian movie, the character Spur, he's known for making a terrible wallaby stew. Well, I don't want to make a terrible stew, and I can't really get my hands on wallaby, but kangaroo meat is easy enough to get your hands on. So I'm going to make up a kangaroo stew, a kind of a traditional Australian kangaroo stew, and basically all I've got is kangaroo meat, potato, tomato, carrot, onion. Ethan doesn't like the onion, so I won't put that in, but you can. Some cornstarch, butter. Got tomato sauce. Really you should use tomato paste, but I didn't have any, but that'll add a bit of extra tang. And then the rest of that 330 ml of beer here. Yes. And then the last thing, the most important thing, is the quintessential Australian billy, which I've got one here. This is very similar to what they would have used back in the bush, and these were very versatile for, you know, cooking up your water, boiling your water, making a stew, making damper. And so we're going to make our kangaroo stew in there. It's going to be great. So to start off, I'm going to just fry that kangaroo meat up a little bit, just so it kind of cooks through first. Sear it, you know. Bit of butter on there so it doesn't stick, and just chuck a lot of roux meat. Actually, I don't know if we'll eat all that. Just chuck the roux meat on there. Just want to get that roux searing. Fantastic. There's our roux meat. Now I just want to prep our veggies. I'm just going to cut some big chunks like that, because they're going to roast for a while over the fire. A couple of chunks of tomato. And then a couple of potatoes as well. I'm not even going to skin these potatoes. Just going to do them straight in. I might cut the potato up a bit more fine. Alright, now I've set up my little grill here on the side because I actually don't want my billy over in direct flames. I kind of want it, but not on direct flames, because it wants to be a bit of a slow cook, this one. So I've set my billy up here, and that should be good. Alright, next step, I'm going to pour the beer in there. I'm going to let that boil for a bit. Can't find my spoon, so a mingling stick will do. Next up, I'm going to start getting some of that roux in there. Give that a stir. Alright, now that's got a bit of heat simmering in it. Now we're going to put in some potato. And also the carrot. Give that a little bit of a stir. Add in my tomato. And then this is just a slurry I've made with cornstarch flour and water. And that'll give it a nice thickening to it. Put your salt in. Give her all a beautiful good stir. Lid goes on. And I'm going to let that boil for about 1 hour. So yeah, we'll be eating around 5 o'clock. I just want to let it stew. That's going to be our kangaroo stew. I'm looking forward to it. Now this stew would have gone good with some damper, but we ate it all. So instead I do have this nice loaf of bread here. And basically we're just going to have this stew with bits of bread. just to dip in and lap it all up. But yeah. We felt like real bushmen of old, at least for a night. With the dusk chorus echoing around our ears, it was easy to slip into a silence and just appreciate the natural cathedral around us. Though we have to acknowledge that we can romanticise this life, and truth be told, it was often hard, cold and brutal for the swagman. Henry Lawson wrote a cynical poem called The City Bushman in response to Patterson's romantic Bushman poem. He takes a bit of a jab at those who idolise the bush lifestyle and gives a good cold hard dose of reality. Some of these jabs at the City Bushman by Lawson include: "It was pleasant up the country, City Bushman, where you went, for you sought the greener patches and you travelled like a gent. Do you think the bush was better in the good old droving days when the squatter ruled supremely as the king of western ways? And you think the bush is purer and that life is better there, but it doesn't seem to pay you like the squalid street and square." I would recommend reading both Patterson's and Lawson's poems to get a balanced perspective on the bushman's life. I think we have to recognise both aspects, the often depressing, lonely and hard life of a bushman, but also the beauty, wonder and joy of the bush. And suppose I am a city bushman. I won't deny it. I do idolise it a bit, but I am intrigued by this way of living, and I do think it's still beneficial to get in touch with our history and get outside in the bush, if only to teach the next generation that we do have it very good and we rest on the shoulders of tough men and women who often suffered. A little bit of appreciation their way doesn't hurt. Good morning everyone. So another chilly, frosty one here up in the mountains in the ranges, and it was good to sleep in the swag and do a swagman camp, a traditional camp, and just pass on some knowledge to my son about some of the old ways that they used to do things out in the bush. And Ethan, did you enjoy your trip here?
Yeah.
You did? Do you like making fire?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just going to finish off our kangaroo stew for breakfast this morning, fill ourselves up and then head on home. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give us a subscribe if you haven't, like the video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Let's do it.
What? You dip it in there?
Mmm,